I always thought my life was perfect. Derek, my boyfriend, had this way of making me feel like I was the only person in the world. "You're amazing," he said last night, brushing my hair back with that lazy, familiar smile. And I believed him because I wanted to. "Hey, are you coming to the cafe later?" Lila asked, sliding onto the bench next to me. Her eyes were sharp today, like she wanted to say something she wasn't sure I'd hear. "I might. Derek wants to watch that movie." I shrugged, trying to sound casual. "Uh-huh," she said, smirking. "You always say that. But I think you like the cafe better." "I do," but I trailed off. I didn't tell her I liked feeling normal outside of Derek's world, that he controlled what I did and how I felt, even if subtly. "He's distracted, isn't he?" Lila said, lowering her voice. "What do you mean?" I asked, though a strange feeling twisted in my stomach. "You know, sometimes he looks at other girls," she said, and I laughed nervously. "Not seriously, of course, but you notice it, right?" I shook my head. "Lila, come on. Derek would never." But my words faltered. Maybe I had noticed just once or twice him staring a little too long. My heart tried to dismiss it as nothing. "Just saying," she said softly. "I saw him yesterday at the mall talking to someone. I didn't want to say anything if I was wrong." "What? Are you serious?" My voice rose before I could stop it. "Talking? With who?" "I don't know her name. Just a girl. But they worked close. Like friends, maybe more." I laughed, though it sounded hollow even to me. "You're overthinking. Derek's not like that." "You sure?" she asked, looking me in the eyes. Her stare was so intense that I almost believed she could see my doubts, my fears, the little seed of suspicion I was trying to ignore. I'm sure," I said too quickly. I forced a smile, brushing a loose strand of hair behind my ear. "You worry too much." "Later," Derek called. His voice was warm, casual, effortless. "Hey, baby, what's up?" "Nothing," I said, hiding my unease. "Just hanging out with Lila." "Oh, okay. Don't stay out too long. You know how I feel about late nights," he teased. "Yeah, I know," I said. But his tone lingered in my mind. There was something I couldn't place, an edge beneath the charm. At dinner, I tried to laugh like everything was normal. Lila's words repeated in my head, like a quiet echo. I told myself she was imagining things. Derek would never hurt me. Not really. But as he reached for my hand across the table, I caught him glance at a girl across the room. A fleeting look, a smile that wasn't meant for me, and a strange chill ran down my spine. I shook my head and forced a laugh. I'm imagining things. Maybe I was. Or maybe this was the first crack in the life I thought I had. The one I wasn't ready to admit might crumble, that I didn't mean to see it. I really didn't. But there it was. Derek's phone, unlocked and glowing on the table, buzzing with a message that made my stomach drop. "Hey, can't wait to see you tonight. Don't worry about her. She's just the backup," the message read. I froze. My hand hovered over the screen, shaking. Backup? Backup? My heart felt like it had been ripped out and stomped on. I spun around, heart hammering. "Derek, what the hell is this?" He looked up, startled, his smile faltering. What are you?" "You." I couldn't even finish. My voice cracked. You said you loved me." "I do." I mean, he tried to reach for my hand, but I recoiled. "Don't touch me," I screamed. "How could you? You used me like I was nothing." "I didn't mean it like that," he protested, voice rising. "It's complicated, okay? You know I care about you." "Complicated?" I laughed bitterly, tears spilling over. "You lied to me every single day. Every smile, every word a lie. How long?" "How long what?" His eyes were wide, panicked. "How long have you been treating me like a backup?" My voice shook so violently I could barely speak. It's not what you think," he insisted. "Not what I think. Not what I think." I couldn't even process it. "Derek, I gave you everything. My trust, my heart, my life. And this is what you do to me." I'm sorry," he whispered, looking away. "Sorry. I laughed, though it was hollow. Sorry doesn't cut it. You used me. I trusted you. I loved you. At that moment, Lila's voice rang in my head. I told you something was wrong. I turned toward her, imagining her sitting there, worried and cautious. Lila, I murmured, almost to myself. Hey, she said softly, materializing beside me somehow. I told you. I tried to warn you. I didn't want to believe it, I admitted, voice barely above a whisper. I didn't want to see it. I know, she said, putting a hand on my shoulder. But you're strong. You can get through this. Don't touch me, I snapped, jerking away. I don't need anyone right now. Especially not him. Especially not you. She began, but I cut her off. No. I need to think. I need to leave. I can't stay here pretending everything's fine. Derek's face crumpled. Please don't walk away. We can fix this. No, Derek. I'm done. You made your choice. I grabbed my bag and stormed out, ignoring the sharp pang in my chest. Outside, the cold air hit me like a slap. My knees trembled, but I forced myself to keep walking. Every step was agony. Every breath filled with rage and heartbreak. I could feel tears streaming down my face, but I refused to stop. I passed familiar streets, friends calling my name, classmates asking what happened. I couldn't speak. How could I explain that the person I loved, the person I trusted most, had treated me like a disposable shadow? I didn't want pity. I didn't want questions. I just wanted away. Away from him. Away from the lies. Away from the life I thought I had. I clenched my fists, shaking with fury. My heart was broken, but a part of me, small, stubborn, already whispered, "You will rise from this. You won't be a backup anymore." And I kept walking, tears and rage mixing, my mind burning with the promise of change. I woke up to silence. No Derek's voice, no laughter, no warm hand brushing my hair. Just the emptiness I'd been avoiding. I threw the sheets aside and stared at the ceiling. How did I let him do this to me? The thought burned like acid. Anger, shame, and heartbreak twisted together inside me. Rough night, a voice asked softly. I looked up to see Ethan from work, leaning against the doorway with a tentative smile. I'm fine, I said quickly, turning away. My voice sounded small, fragile, even to me. You don't look fine, he said, stepping closer. If you want to talk. I said I'm fine. I snapped, sharper than I intended. I regretted it instantly, but couldn't stop myself. My chest ached, and the sting of betrayal still clawed at me. Ethan froze, hands raised slightly. Okay, sorry. I didn't mean to pry. I laughed bitterly, sarcastic. Pry? Oh no. Don't apologize. I love strangers barging into my misery. He didn't leave. Instead, he sat down across from me, careful, patient. You don't have to face this alone. I am alone, I muttered. No one understands. Not Derek. Not anyone. I might not understand everything, Ethan said, voice calm. But I can listen. That counts for something. I shook my head, bitter laughter escaping. Counts for what? Sympathy? Empty words? You have no idea what it feels like to be used to be a backup. I might not, he admitted. But I know what it's like to feel betrayed. And I know what it's like to stand up after being knocked down. I looked at him, eyes burning. And how exactly do you suggest I do that? Pretend I'm fine? Smile while my heart shattered. Not pretend, he said softly. Live. Even if it's one step at a time. You'll find your way. I turned away, hugging my knees. Memories flooded me. Derek's smile, the warmth of his hand in mine, the plans we made. Every happy moment now felt poisoned. Why did he do it? I whispered to no one. Why me? Was I not enough? You were more than enough, Ethan said firmly. He was selfish. That's his problem, not yours. I laughed, hollow and sharp. Easy for you to say. You didn't watch the person you loved lie to your face every single day. You didn't invest everything in someone who didn't care. Maybe not, he said quietly, but I can tell you this. You're stronger than you think. Strong enough to stop being someone else's backup. Strong enough to take control. I swallowed hard, staring at my hands. The anger burned, but beneath it, a tiny spark flickered, a stubborn flame. He's right. I was tired of being someone else's safety net. Tired of giving love where it wasn't valued. I can't stay like this, I murmured. I can't just lie here, letting him take everything. You won't, Ethan said, a small, encouraging smile. I nodded slowly, feeling a strange mix of hope and fear. Then I guess it's time to stop being a backup. Time to take my life back. Ethan didn't say anything. He just nodded and let me sit in my silence. And for the first time since the betrayal, I felt less alone. I didn't know how or when or where I'd start. But I knew one thing. I wasn't going to let him define me anymore. I stared at my reflection in the mirror, really stared, for the first time in months. My eyes were tired, but my jaw felt tighter, my spine straighter. I'm done letting him define me. Done being a backup. Ethan appeared in the doorway, arms crossed, watching me. You look different, he said. I'm trying, I replied, brushing a stray hair back. Trying to be someone who doesn't care what he did to me. You still care, he said gently. You can't hide it. I laughed, bitter but determined. Of course I care. But I'm not letting it control me. I'm done feeling weak. He stepped closer. Do you have a plan? I do, I said, my voice firmer than I expected. I'm going to focus on me. My career, my friends, my health. No distractions. No toxic people. Sounds intense, Ethan said with a small grin. Good. It should be. I paused. I want to start fresh. Completely. And that means cutting ties with anyone who's holding me back, including Derek's memory in every corner of my life. He nodded, eyes soft. I get it. I just hope you don't shut out everyone who genuinely cares. I hesitated. I'm not sure I can trust anyone right now. People always disappoint. But I'll try. Later, I called Maya, my friend who had always supported me. Maya, I need you. Not for pity, not for advice. Just support. I'm here, she said immediately, her voice warm. Whatever you need. I'm serious about this, I said, feeling the determination pulse in my chest. No, Derek. No toxic friends. I'm reclaiming my life. I know, she said. I'll help. You're stronger than you think. Then I texted Nina, someone I'd always suspected of envy. I'm focusing on myself now. If you can't support me, step aside. Her reply was quick. Whatever. Good luck. I smirked, ignoring the sting. Her jealousy didn't matter anymore. I was moving forward. At work, Ethan noticed the change immediately. You seem more confident, he said. I am, I said, trying to hide the small thrill of power I felt. It's amazing what happens when you stop worrying about someone who didn't deserve you. You're really doing this, he said. Not just talking. I shrugged. I have to. For me. I can't be that girl anymore, the one waiting for someone who'll never care. Even my coworkers noticed. Small compliments, fleeting glances, nods of respect. It felt strange, but good. Empowering. Like I was finally breathing again, not just surviving. Maya stopped by my apartment that evening. You're glowing, she said. I'm not done yet, I said, smiling despite the fire in my chest. But I'm getting there, step by step. I see it, she said softly. You're changing. And people notice. I nodded. I want to be unstoppable. Not because I hate him, but because I want me back. All of me. Ethan called later that night. Dinner, he asked cautiously. I don't know, I said. I'm not ready to fully trust anyone yet. That's fine, he said. Take your time. Just remember, you're not alone in this. I stared at the ceiling, letting the quiet wash over me. Not alone. I can do this. I will do this. The thought felt like fire, igniting every corner of my heart. Tomorrow I would wake up and do it again. Reinvent, Rebuild, reclaim. Derek's shadow would fade, and I would rise, not broken, not weak, but unstoppable. And I would start with myself. I saw him before he saw me. Derek, leaning against the bar, laughing with his friends like nothing had changed. My chest tightened, but I forced a calm smile. Let's see who notices first. Wow. A voice said behind me.
Maya.
You look incredible. Thanks, I said, adjusting my dress. I wanted to make an impression tonight. You've already done that, she whispered, eyes sparkling. He's going to notice. I felt a thrill, mixed with a twinge of guilt. Was this revenge? Or just showing him I was no longer his possession? Either way, it felt right. I stepped into the room, scanning the crowd. Derek's head turned slowly, like he was trying to find something familiar. And then he saw me. His smile faltered, replaced with something sharp, shock, disbelief, maybe even fear. Is that her? He muttered under his breath. I walked over, heels clicking, confidence radiating. Derek, I said, voice soft but clear. Long time no see. He blinked, mouth opening, closing, and opening again. You look different. Different. I raised an eyebrow. I'd say improved. Don't you? I mean, his words trailed off. He ran a hand through his hair, clearly flustered. You look tense, I said lightly, almost teasing. Everything okay?
Yeah.
Fine, he stammered, though the flush on his cheeks betrayed him. I felt a small, satisfying spark. He's unsettled, finally noticing that I'm not his anymore. A colleague from work came up, shaking my hand. I didn't recognize you at first, she said, smiling. You're glowing. Thanks, I said, smiling back. It's a work in progress. Derek's eyes darted around, probably noticing the whispers, the glances at me. I could practically feel his panic. Part of me wanted to gloat, but another part, the part that remembered what it felt like to love, paused. Was this really the way? Or was karma enough? I shook my head, pushing the thought aside. Tonight was about presence, about showing him I wasn't fragile anymore. Maya leaned closer. He's looking at you like he can't believe you exist, she whispered. I smirked.
Good.
Let him wonder. Let him realize he doesn't control me anymore. He finally approached, trying to mask his nerves. You looked amazing, he said, awkward, almost pleading. Thanks, I replied, cool and detached. It's amazing what you can do when you stop worrying about someone who didn't value you. His face tightened. I never meant. I know, I interrupted gently. You meant what you wanted, not what was right. He opened his mouth, closed it, and finally sighed. You've changed. I have, I said, voice steady. And I'm done being the girl you treated as a backup. Just so you know, this isn't about you anymore. It's about me. He looked like he wanted to argue, to reach me, to apologize, but nothing came. I could see the panic creeping in, the realization that he was losing the hold he thought he had forever. I turned, walking back toward the crowd, Maya following. Are you okay? She asked. I'm more than okay, I said, feeling the first real surge of power in months. I'm alive, and I'm just getting started. I caught Derek's eyes one last time before disappearing into the crowd. He looked smaller, uncertain, powerless. And I finally smiled, not cruelly, but quietly. Because tonight wasn't about revenge. It was about me reclaiming my life, one step at a time, that I heard about it first through whispers. At work, someone mentioned Derek losing a client because of a misunderstanding. I felt a tiny flicker of satisfaction, but immediately pushed it down. Don't let it consume you, I reminded myself. Ethan noticed my tension. You're smiling a little too much, he said, leaning against the counter. I'm not smiling, I said quickly, though my lips betrayed me. I'm observing. Observing or enjoying? He asked, raising an eyebrow. Neither, I replied. I just noticed things. Later, I overheard Nina talking to a friend. Did you hear? Derek messed up big. I guess karma's real. I smiled inwardly. She didn't know I was listening, but the timing felt poetic. The next day, Derek called. His voice was sharp, urgent. We need to talk. Please, just 5 minutes. I can explain. I'm busy, I said, deliberately flat. Please.
I
can't do this without you hearing me, he insisted, panic creeping in. I heard you perfectly the first time, I said. You don't need me. You need a miracle. He paused, swallowing audibly. You're not mad? Mad. I laughed softly, bitter and low. Derek, I was mad. I'm past that now. I'm observing consequences. Consequences? His voice wavered. I didn't mean. Exactly, I interrupted. Intentions don't erase actions. I hope you're learning that the hard way. He stayed silent. I could practically feel his thoughts scrambling. Later, I attended another social gathering. Derek's new lover, Vanessa, was there, sly, sharp, and dripping with charm. I caught her whispering in Derek's ear, laughing in a way that made his shoulders tense. I see you're having fun, I said quietly when I passed them. Vanessa's smile faltered. Oh, hi. I didn't see you there, she said, smooth but uneasy. You're learning about discomfort, I said, stepping past. It suits you. Derek glanced at me, panic flashing across his eyes. Can we talk later? He asked, voice low. No, I said softly. Later is for people who still get chances. Ethan found me outside later, shaking his head. You're really doing this, watching him crumble. I'm not doing anything, I said, shrugging. I'm just noticing the world is balancing itself. Don't let this consume you, he warned. You'll hurt yourself more than him if you let it become an obsession. I'm not obsessed, I said, though I felt a twinge of doubt. I'm learning, strengthening myself, making sure he understands the cost of what he did. And what if Vanessa manipulates him? Ethan asked. Or worse, drags you into more drama? I shook my head. She's smart, but not enough. I won't stoop to her level. I just expose cracks. That's all. By the week's end, rumors were swirling. Derek missed meetings, fumbled projects, even stammered in public appearances. I watched him try to maintain composure, saw his panic rise with every glance in my direction. Part of me felt pity. He was human after all. But another part, a sharper, colder part, reveled quietly in justice being served. I caught a glimpse of Vanessa, whispering fiercely in Derek's ear, clearly trying to fix things. I smirked. Not fast enough. Ethan placed a hand on my shoulder. Remember, the goal is your life, not his humiliation. I know, I said, inhaling slowly. But seeing the truth unfold, it's hard not to feel some satisfaction. And as I walked away, watching the cracks widen in the man who once called me his, I realized the power had shifted. Not through force, not through malice, just through me standing tall while he stumbled. I wasn't prepared for his message. Can we meet? I need to explain. I was wrong. My stomach twisted. Part of me wanted to delete it immediately. Another part wanted to see his face, to hear the words he never said when it mattered. Ethan noticed me staring at my phone. Are you really thinking about replying? He asked, eyebrows raised. I don't know, I admitted. Part of me wants to understand. Part of me wants to watch him squirm. You mean part of you wants closure? Part of you wants revenge, he said softly. Be careful, okay? I can handle it, I muttered, though my hands shook slightly. I met Derek at a small cafe. He looked tired, his confident posture gone, shoulders slumped. You came, he said, voice barely above a whisper. I did, I said, sitting across from him. You said you were wrong. I was, he said immediately. I didn't realize what I was doing. I see it now. Losing you, it's unbearable. I blinked, surprised at the rawness in his voice. Part of me softened, then hardened again. Unbearable? That's funny. I was the one who cried alone, who felt worthless while you played games. I know, he said, shame flickering in his eyes. I can't stop thinking about it. About us. And what about me? I asked. What about what I lost? what I gave you.
I
I can't fix that, he admitted. I swallowed, fighting the urge to shake my head and forgive him. You don't get to just apologize and erase months of pain. You don't get to step in when it suits you. He looked down, voice quieter. I know. I wish I had seen sooner. You wish you had, I said, voice cold. Well, I've already seen. And I've already moved on. You're not part of this life anymore. Outside, Maya waved at me, smiling. Hey, you look strong. Really strong. Thanks, I said, giving her a small nod. Her support always steadied me. Nina, however, lingered nearby, eyes narrowing. Really? You're sitting there, talking to him like this? She whispered to Maya. I thought she'd be over him by now. Let her be, Maya replied firmly. I caught Nina's gaze. So this is where you stand, I thought. Jealous, critical, unwilling to respect my growth. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. Her contempt only reminded me why I was leaving some people behind. Derek's eyes found mine again. So, you won't? No, I said firmly. I won't go back. I won't let what you did define my choices anymore. I won't be your backup ever again. His shoulders sagged. I understand. Good, I said, standing. I hope you truly do. Because I'm done. I'm rebuilding, living, and nothing you say will stop that. Ethan caught up to me outside. You okay? I am, I said, inhaling deeply. It was hard hearing him, seeing him regret it. Part of me wanted to forgive. Part of me wanted to hurt him. But neither matters now. I choose me. That's the right choice, he said, giving me a small smile. And my friends, I added, thinking of Maya and Nina. Some support, some don't. And that's fine. I don't need everyone on my side. Just the ones who matter. Ethan nodded.
Exactly.
You're not defined by him or by them. You're defined by yourself. I felt a rush of clarity. The dilemma wasn't about Derek anymore.
It was about me, my choices, and my strength.
Forgiveness might come one day, but not now. Not when I was learning how to rise without leaning on anyone who had ever hurt me. I let the wind hit my face, feeling alive. Finally, freed, I walked into the conference hall, heart racing, not with fear, but with anticipation. Today wasn't about Derek. Today was about me, about everything I had rebuilt from the ashes. Congratulations, a colleague said, shaking my hand. Your report was exceptional. Truly impressive. Thanks, I replied, smiling but keeping my guard up. Praise still felt strange after months of self-doubt. Maya appeared beside me, beaming.
See?
I told you. Nothing can stop you now. I'm just focused, I said, brushing past a cluster of coworkers. And maybe a little stubborn. Ethan met my eyes from across the room. His smile was small, subtle, but it made something warm bloom inside me. I had to remind myself to stay cautious. Heartbreak still lingered like a shadow. You're glowing, he said softly when I reached him. Maybe it's the lighting, I joked, though the thrill in my chest betrayed me. No, he said quietly serious.
It's you.
You've changed. Stronger, sharper, alive. I felt a surge of pride, but I also remembered why I had to keep my boundaries. Thanks, Ethan. I appreciate you noticing. As the ceremony began, I kept my focus. One by one, people were called to the stage. When my name rang out, I froze for only a second. Then I stepped forward head high. Applause washed over me, voices praising my dedication, my growth. Excellent work, the presenter said, handing me the certificate. A true example of perseverance and excellence. Thank you, I said, my voice steady, confident. Inside, my heart thumped, not with arrogance, but with quiet triumph. In the crowd, I caught Derek's eyes. He was leaning against the back wall, awkward, unsteady. His face was pale, lips pressed in a tight line. He mouthed something, probably trying to claim attention or sway perception, but no one paid him mind. Not my problem anymore, I thought, letting a small, satisfied smile curve my lips. After the ceremony, people crowded around me. Compliments, smiles, congratulations. I laughed lightly, the sound free, untethered.
You've come so far, Maya said.
I'm proud of you. I still have far to go, I admitted, feeling grounded despite the praise. Ethan stayed close, his hand brushing mine accidentally, and I didn't pull away. I'm glad I got to see this side of you, he said quietly. Careful, I teased, still cautious. Don't get used to seeing it all. I wouldn't dream of it, he replied, a smirk tugging at his lips. A small envelope was handed to me. Inside was a letter from the CEO, recognizing my contributions and offering a leadership opportunity. I felt my chest swell. Symbolically, this letter wasn't just recognition. It was proof I had reclaimed control of my life. I can't believe this, I murmured, holding it close. You earned it, Ethan said softly. Every late night, every fight with doubt, it brought you here. I nodded, feeling a mixture of triumph and caution. My life had shifted quietly, power and independence threading through every decision I made. Later, Derek approached, hesitating at the edge of the room. Can we talk? He asked, voice small. I think we covered that, I said, calm but firm. I'm not the person I was before. I don't need explanations or apologies. I've moved on. His shoulders sagged, defeat clear. I could see him realizing the hold he thought he had over me had vanished completely. I turned back to the crowd, Ethan following with a small smile. The night was full of light, laughter, and subtle victories. I felt it, the quiet power of my rebirth, the promise that no one could take it away. And somewhere in the corner of my mind, I allowed a small spark of something new, something careful, something hopeful. Not love, not yet, but a possibility. I was no one's backup. I was finally, completely my own. I didn't expect him, but there he was, Derek, standing at my office doorway like nothing had changed. His confident swagger was gone, replaced by a desperate tension I hadn't seen before. Can we talk? His voice was low, urgent, almost pleading. I leaned back in my chair, arms crossed. We've talked enough, Derek. What's this really about? I can't stop thinking about you, he admitted, eyes flicking nervously. I made a mistake. I need you back. I laughed softly, almost coldly. You need me back? Derek, I was never yours to begin with. You had your chance and you blew it. You don't understand, he said, stepping closer. I changed. I interrupted, voice steady. You changed too late. I've moved on. I'm building a life without you. Do you think your words can undo months of lies? I'll do anything, he said, voice trembling. I'll fix everything. Just give me one more chance. I shook my head slowly, feeling a calm strength wash over me. One more chance? Derek, I trusted you, I loved you, and you treated me like a backup. Do you think begging can erase that? I didn't mean it, he whispered, desperation slipping in. You thought what? I leaned forward, eyes sharp. That you could play with my heart and walk away unscathed? That I'd wait forever while you chase someone else? His face fell. I didn't know. Don't lie to me again, I said firmly. I know exactly what you did. Every text, every smile, every promise, it was calculated. You weren't clumsy. You were selfish. He swallowed hard. I see that now. You see it now? I asked, voice rising slightly. How convenient. Too late. My life doesn't have room for someone who used me as a plan B. I won't be your consolation, your safety net, or your shadow. Ever. Please, he begged, voice cracking. I'm sorry. I'll change. I'll do whatever it takes. I don't need whatever it takes, I said, standing taller. I need peace. I need respect. And I need to be free from you. You're walking away, he said, disbelief in his tone. After everything. Yes, I said, voice calm but firm. After everything. You'll never understand what I gave you, but that's not my burden anymore. I'm not a backup. I'm not someone to be one. I'm me. He sank into the chair across from me, defeated. His ego, his charm, all of it shattered. I can't believe. You don't have to, I said softly, almost gently. Just learn that actions have consequences. And this is yours. His eyes filled with regret, sharp and raw. I didn't gloat. I didn't need to. Watching him grasp the truth of his mistakes, finally, was enough. Ethan stepped quietly into the office, placing a reassuring hand on my shoulder. You handled that perfectly, he said softly. Thanks, I murmured, feeling a mix of relief and lingering tension. It's done. I don't need to fight anymore. He doesn't get to haunt my life. Derek didn't speak again. I saw the weight in his shoulders, the quiet shame. Karmic justice, subtle and satisfying, had taken its course. I turned to Ethan, letting a small smile touch my lips. It's finally over. He nodded. It is. You're free. Completely. I felt it in my chest, a lightness I hadn't known in months. The betrayal, the heartbreak, the anger, all of it had led me here. Stronger, wiser, unbreakable. I walked past Derek, my step steady, my head high. He would remember this moment, the last time he tried to control me, and he would understand that some opportunities, once lost, are gone forever. And for the first time since the betrayal, I felt completely at peace. I sat on the balcony, the city lights stretching below me like tiny fires of possibility. A glass of wine in my hand, I let my thoughts drift. From the heartbreak to the rage, the betrayal to the rebirth, it had all led here. Ethan joined me, his presence quiet but steady. You look different, he said softly. I feel different, I admitted. Strong and control-free. I never thought I'd feel this way again. You've earned it, he said, smiling. I've seen the months of work, the late nights, the determination. You're incredible. I laughed lightly, shaking my head. It's funny, isn't it? How I used to let one person, one betrayal, define me. Now I define myself. You always had it in you, he said, eyes kind. You just needed space to realize it. I glanced at him, feeling a warmth I hadn't dared to welcome before. And you've been here through it all. Not pushing, not judging. Just steady. I'm not going anywhere, he replied quietly. If you let me, I'll be here. But only as long as it's what you want. I think I want that, I said, hesitating. Careful though. I'm still learning how to trust again. You don't have to rush, he said, voice gentle. Trust grows with time. I smiled, letting the past wash over me for a moment. I remembered Derek's whispers, the fake smiles, the lies. I remembered crying alone, feeling worthless, feeling like my world had shattered. And now? Now I stood taller, laughing with friends, earning recognition, and feeling alive again. Maya called me later that evening. Dinner, she asked. I want to celebrate you. Your growth, your courage. I'd love that, I said, smiling. I need to be reminded sometimes how far I've come. Lila joined us too. Look at you, she said, raising her glass. From heartbreak to powerhouse. I can't even. Don't underestimate yourself, I said, teasing. You've been my rock too. We laughed, shared stories, and for the first time in months, I felt complete. The shadows of the past had faded, replaced with warmth, laughter, and hope. Ethan texted me during dinner. Thinking of joining us? I smiled, typing back, on my way. Later, he appeared, sliding into the booth beside me. Miss me, he teased. Maybe a little, I said, nudging him lightly. We talked about everything and nothing. I felt my heart open cautiously, realizing that love didn't have to hurt. It could be steady, gentle, and supportive. The idea was almost foreign, but exhilarating. I thought about Derek. The anger had faded, replaced by quiet understanding. His loss was mine to acknowledge, but it no longer had power over me. I could see clearly now his absence symbolized freedom, not emptiness. You're smiling differently tonight, Ethan observed. I am, I said, looking out at the city again. I'm not just surviving. I'm living. And finally, I'm happy on my own terms. He reached for my hand, warm and reassuring. I'm glad I get to see the side of you. The real you. Strong, fearless, alive. And you'll be patient, I said, squeezing his hand. Because I'm still learning how to let someone in. I will, he promised. Every step of the way. I leaned back, eyes closing briefly, letting the breeze wash over me. The betrayal, the heartbreak, the struggles, they had all led to this moment of liberation. I was whole again. Here's to moving on, I said quietly, more to myself than anyone else. To moving on, Ethan echoed, his voice soft but steady beside me. I opened my eyes, looked at the horizon, and felt it. The peace, the growth, the promise of a future unshackled by past pain. I had taken back my life. I had reclaimed myself. And for the first time in a long time, I believed in happiness again. I walked into my apartment, sunlight spilling through the windows, and for the first time in months, I felt completely at home. This was my space, my life, my rules. No shadows, no whispers of betrayal, no echoes of Derek's control. Maya peeked her head inside. You're glowing, she said softly. I feel it too, I replied, smiling. Every corner of this place feels like mine now. Lila joined, holding a small cake. A celebration for you. For everything you've overcome. I laughed lightly, touched. I don't need grand gestures to feel triumphant, but this is nice. Ethan leaned against the doorway, watching quietly. You've rebuilt yourself beautifully, he said. Not just me, I said. This is for everyone who stood by me, who reminded me I was worth more than what I was given. He nodded, his eyes soft. And you've learned to stand alone, strong. That's the hardest part. I moved to my favorite chair, looking around the room that felt like a sanctuary. Every item, every corner was a testament to my rebirth. The certificates on the shelf, the awards tucked carefully in frames, my favorite books organized perfectly, it all whispered, you did this. You earned it. Derek? I didn't think of him anymore, not with bitterness, not with pain. He had faded, replaced by silence, and that silence felt like justice. I didn't need to watch him stumble, I didn't need to gloat. Life itself had leveled the scales. Ethan joined me on the sofa. What's next for you? He asked, quietly curious. I leaned back, feeling the weight of months lift off my shoulders. I don't know yet, but for the first time, I get to decide. On my terms. No one else's rules, no one else's expectations. You'll keep thriving, he said, a small smile tugging at his lips. I will, I replied. I'm not just surviving. I'm living. And this time, I get to enjoy it. Maya clapped lightly. To new beginnings, she said. To new beginnings, I echoed, lifting my glass. I reflected on the journey. The heartbreak, the betrayal, the quiet nights of tears and rage. I remembered Derek's face, full of false confidence, and the fear I felt thinking I had no control. Now it felt like a lifetime ago. Ethan reached for my hand. You're happy, he said softly. I am, I admitted, squeezing his hand lightly. Happier than I thought possible. I finally own my life. Every choice, every triumph, it's mine. Not his, not anyone else's. Lila smiled. And it suits you. You've never looked more like yourself. I've reclaimed more than just myself, I said, thinking of my career, my home, my independence. I've reclaimed my peace, my confidence, my voice. A soft breeze fluttered through the open windows, carrying the faint scent of spring. I closed my eyes, letting it fill me. Each inhalation felt like freedom, each exhale letting go of the past completely. Derek, Maya asked gently. I shook my head.
He's gone.
Not just from my life, but from my heart. And that's exactly how it should be. Ethan smiled, leaning closer. I'm glad you see that. I do, I said, opening my eyes to the sunlight streaming across my space. I've rebuilt myself from the ashes. Every scar, every tear, every sleepless night. It brought me here. Strong, free, unstoppable. And as I looked around my apartment, filled with life, laughter, and quiet triumph, I realized something profound. This was more than a victory over him. It was a victory for me. A life reclaimed, finally, and entirely my own.